So camp has 100,000, not 1,000, but 100,000.
Algorithm, it can spit out 100,000.
100,000 because there's, it also combines all the ones in that chart. So it has 100,000 or so,
Permutations,
approximately
yeah,
permutation.
When we founded camp and when camp started, part of doing that algorithm thing was a bit of a joke and a reaction to the how many NGOs do we have?
Yeah, there's a million or so NGOs in the South Asian context. So it's a very NGO heavy space.
And they seem to love acronyms, right? Center for Study of Culture and Society, Center for Study of Developing Society,
and those are
Center for Study of Society and Secularism.
So there's a whole universe of these institutions which have to name themselves something before they start working, right? And in a way, what we were trying to say, there's a note on the website which says, how do you know exactly what affects? You can start out with some intentions, but often things change, right? So you don't really know what effects your institution will have. So you can't really claim that you're studying culture and society in a certain way, because 3 years down the line you may be studying technology and society, or things change. In any case, so it was this kind of joke about that, and we were rather than inventing new names, we said, okay, let's keep the acronym the same and invent backwards also.
Yeah, it's registered officially as critical art and media practices, but one of the many names. But we actually took it a little more seriously because we had an intern who was with us at camp, and he was a student we taught before, and he made 10 different visiting cards for us. So when we had the right-wing government, one of the cards said "Culture according to my people." We had a card for our fellow, or senior leftist comrades, which said, what was that one? We had one said "Conversations after missed philosophies." We had "Challenges after media practices," which was for my fellow filmmakers, and the card had 1,000 CCTV cameras on on the wires, like the electricity wires you see around the city. So we took it a bit seriously, and I think that relates to why we don't see ourselves as this finite collective. And also, as Ashok said, there aren't predetermined agendas. There are many possibilities.
Right, with the collective thing, which has become a bit of a thing that people ask us a lot, because there was a kind of relatively strong statement we made once that we are not an artist collective. So that was the format, that we're not an artist collective. And there were 2 reasons for it. One is that we are not all artists, right? There's at least 2 out of the 5 people who wouldn't identify themselves necessarily as artists in the traditional way, right? They're programmers or they're working in other fields. So I think that the collective and collectivity and forms of it are very important to us, but it's it's not in the traditional sense of how an artist collective would be used. And the other thing is we like the idea that we are a kind of organization, right? As in, we are not just a collective of people, but we're also a collective of, we're also a space, we're also a kind of actual organization that is a combination of many other things, including the ability to kind of include other people, like the organization can invite other partners and so on. And the size of the collective, this organized collective, is not limited to a specific number of people, or even to those people. The idea would be that Shaina and me could, for example, in the future, be not part of certain camp projects, as we are not in the case of certain software projects that Sanjay is doing. So, it's more like this film production kind of model where there's a kind of a studio. So we are thinking one level above the normal artist working space, and thinking of kind of commissioning ourselves and other people, and dreaming of larger projects, which is normally something that cultural institutions do. So camp has this dual role in the sense that it's acting more like a studio. It generates projects, and various people within the kind of permission to do those projects. But CAMP is a bit like a film studio, it produces the projects.